Thank you for joining us on the Travel Royally podcast. Today we have Mr. David Scott. He is the general manager of Dumbarnie Links. This was one of the first golf courses I played in St. Andrews and around St. Andrews. And it's a newer course in the last couple of years. It's really amazing. We love it, and we're excited for this one. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Travel Royally podcast. Today, we're very excited to have with us David Scott. David is the general manager of Dumbarnie Links, and he has a wonderful golf CV. He's been the head professional at Dumbarnie Golf Club, and he was the director of golf at Kingsbarns for 9 years, which is a wonderful venue. He went on to work for the Kohler organization, who owns the Old Course Hotel, Resort, and Spa for more than a decade in multiple roles, including the manager of the Dukes course. And in 2019, he joined Clive Clark's team as general manager of Dumbarnie Links, which is obviously or clearly one of our favorite spots in Scotland. David, welcome to the Travel Royally podcast.
Jeff, thanks so much for inviting me to speak with you. I'm excited to be talking to you about this whole magnificent area for golf, the east coast of Scotland.
Yeah, well, you've got a lot to be proud of there with all of the wonderful golf there. You know, I tell our clients that there are basically 5 areas or regions in Scotland for golf. You've got kind of the West Coast, Ayrshire. You've got the Lothians. You've got Fife, which is where you are. You've got Aberdeenshire. And then you've got the Highlands and the Islands.
Right.
And each of those areas is rich with golf. But I would say you're particularly blessed with all the courses at St. Andrews, and then coming down the coast, you know, you've got, well, the courses at the Fairmont, you've got Kingsbarns, you've got Crail, Ely, London Links, Leven Links, Dumbarnie, Anstruther, or Anster, as you say.
That's right.
I may have left one or two off of there, but there's just more golf than you can imagine. You could base yourself in Fife for 2.5 weeks and never play the same course twice.
That's right. And all the courses you've mentioned really there are links courses, which are wonderful to play. You've got a couple of really good inland courses. You mentioned earlier, I worked at the Dukes course, which is 3 miles inland from St. Andrews. That's a beautiful tree-lined heathland course with great, with golf carts as well. So if you wanted to, rest your feet for a day and jump on carts, well, there are a few lovely inland alternatives as well, to just the great links courses we have.
Yeah, Ladybank is another one that comes to mind.
That's right.
That's nearby.
That's right.
Now, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in the Fife area?
I was born in St. Andrews and brought up there. So I lived first 19 years in St. Andrews playing amateur golf. And then I turned professional, went to a lovely 45-hole golf course at Blairgowrie Golf Club, which is only 30 miles or so. It's in Perthshire, not a million miles away from Gleneagles. And then from there, I then moved up to Arbroath to a 36-hole complex called Letham Grange. After that, then I went to the places you mentioned, Balbirnie Park, then Kingsbarns, then Kohler Company, Old Course Hotel, and the last 3.5 years at Dumbarnie Links. So very much an East Coast boy that stayed in the East Coast, but moved out of town, when I was 19, and moved back into town actually 10 years ago, back into St. Andrews. So it's great to be back, where I was brought up.
It's an idyllic spot. My girlfriend and I lived in St. Andrews for a summer in 2020. There was nobody there because it was or no travelers because of the pandemic. And we absolutely loved it. But anyway, so you grew up there, you live back there now. How did you come? Well, this is a ridiculous question. How did you come to golf? I guess as a young boy, everyone plays golf in St. Andrews, right?
Yeah, pretty much 95%, I reckon, when they were brought up did. My father was a good player. He played kind of 2 or 3 handicap for over 20 years and joined the local St. Andrews Children's Holiday Golf Club. So they did competitions every single week, and we'd play putting competitions on the Himalayas every week as well. Just to the right-hand side of hole number 1 and 2 on the old course. That's where the Himalayas putting green is. I'd highly recommend Travel Royally guests to play there. It's quite an experience. So putting there and you just go out with my friends, and it was such, and still is, such a safe town. So my mum would have breakfast in the morning, and then I'd get a sandwich, and I'd leave the house at 8:30 or 9 on a summer's day and come back at 6 o'clock at night. I'd just be playing golf every day with my buddies. We just do it all the time. So it was fabulous. We didn't realize how lucky we were. Truly.
Well, even I'm assuming you've got a Links ticket now, correct?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
I mean, well, like we were talking earlier, what you pay for a Links ticket for annual golf is less than what you would pay to play a course like Kingsbarns once.
Well, that's true. Well, being a resident of St Andrews, the local ticket for an annual local ticket is £330, which is what, $450 or thereabouts for a year's ticket to play the old course as many times as you want. So it's incredible value. If you were to stay in Crail or Cooper or a town or village just out of St Andrews, then it doubles in price, but it's still astonishingly good value. But certainly as a St Andrean, it's an absolute bargain of the century.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it's great value.
So what led to your career in golf? You must have been quite a keen amateur golfer.
Yes, it's funny actually. I didn't decide to turn pro till I was 19, and I was actually at college studying quantity surveying for the building trade, and I was just unsure. I had a bit of a musical background as well. I played saxophone quite a bit, so I was kind of hovering what I was going to do, and then I wasn't enjoying the quantity surveying, bills of quantities, and all the numbers and all that. It wasn't beyond me, but I just wasn't enjoying it, which is what it's all about. If you're not enjoying it within a year or so of going to college and thinking, I'm going to spend the next 30 years doing this, get out, super quick. So then it was actually one of my mum's friends that saw this advert in the paper, looking for an assistant golf professional up at Blairgowrie Golf Club. So I was playing off a 2 handicap, not particularly good, but I wasn't that serious with my golf. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't thinking that was going to be my career. You know what? Well, why not? And I applied, and here I am. 40 years on.
Well, Blairgowrie's a marvelous place, right?
It is. It's regularly voted. They've got 2 great 18-hole courses and a 9-hole, so 45 in total, and nice practice range, and quite an affluent membership as well. So it would be your kind of top 20 club in Scotland, I would think, and a highly regarded members club.
Right. Well, what led to you joining Dumbarnie after such great career?
Well, I really enjoyed opening and helping to open Kingsbarns as director of golf there back in 2000. Then I joined Kohler Company for 11 years. And then I heard about this great property down the coast. It's only 12 miles from St Andrews. So I had a little look at it. I thought, wow, okay, this is looking very special. And having been at Kingsbarns, which is a super special golf course, right, I recognized the traits that were set out, the layout, the design, the plans, etc. So I thought, oh, okay. And also the position was general manager, which is a notch up from director of golf. So you're overseeing everything, your maintenance, your food and beverage, everything there. So I interviewed with Clive Clark. We got on extremely well. And, within a few weeks or so, I got a job offer and took it. It's just pushing the boundary, pushing the responsibility, but coming back to more the excitement of running a golf course again. My job at Kohler Company, I ended up getting involved with a hotel. I was director of operations at the hotel and the resort. So you've got 144 bedrooms. You're overseeing the whole property basically as director of operations. But it wasn't my gig. My gig's golf, and I didn't. Reservations, or reception and maintenance and housekeeping, etc. Yeah, it floats some folks' boats, but not my boat particularly. I did it. I got stuck in. I'm a good manager, and was running quite nicely the place. We won a few awards. Yeah, that's great. But my true love is golf. So this opportunity, a fantastic layout of a golf course with a great board and good investors. Why wouldn't I risk it? There was
Right.
no risk as far as I was concerned. So took the opportunity and loved every minute. I started January the 2nd, 2020.
So I want to go back to Kingsbarns for a moment because you brought that up. And so
Yeah,
you joined Mark Parsinen and Stuart McCallum.
that's right. That's
Um,
right.
I've had Stuart on our podcast as well. What a wonderful guy he is.
He is. He's got so many brilliant stories. Mark Parson, sadly, he passed away far too early. Yeah, I started in November 99 and the golf course opened in July 2000, the same week as the Open Championship. The place was absolutely jammed. So in the first week of business, 1,426 golfers in the first week of a golf business. Ask anybody, and that's like nuts. You've got 100 caddies a day going out there. The food and beverages slammed. The retail is slammed. The weather, those of you who were in St Andrews area will recall, it was like 70 degrees every day, flat cam. People are scoring lights out around our place. All amateurs coming there, 18 handicapper, and they're shooting 82 or 79, and they're like, the best golf course I've ever played, the best score I've ever had. I love this place. Wonderful word of mouth from that opening week. It was tremendous.
I went there in 2020,
Right.
and I loved it from the start and played it every year that I went there. I've been to Scotland 30 straight years.
Right. Wow.
So I played a lot of golf over there, but it's a wonderful place. But switching back to Dumbarnie, you joined that team before it opened as well, right? You joined that during the construction process as well.
Yes. So the construction of the golf course had completed. And so Graham Taylor, our course manager, was just, getting the place ready. He was only, when I joined, it was only 5 months away from opening. So he was just getting the grass cut and getting everything right and ready. So I came in. There was nobody on the operations side. So my job was then to get a reservations manager in, a head pro, food and beverage manager, head chef, accounts, and then all their team underneath that.
Yeah.
Then, like, the simple things that people don't really think about, but the scorecard design, the course guide design, and getting all that, the type of tee boxes that we're going to be putting out in the golf course, the marking of the golf course as well, where do you put benches, all these things that are generally set, but we're a brand new golf course. It's exciting to be right there at the start to influence these things to a degree. And certainly the most important thing was for me, get a team that'll deliver, a high quality experience with a minimal of hassle up to myself. I want good, proactive, positive-minded people that are there to deliver, and I managed to do that with the team. It was fantastic.
Well, I have to tell you, Leah Janetta is amazing. She does a great job working with me and our people. One thing that I always recommend people do is that when they go to Dumbarnie, skip breakfast at your hotel, get the bacon roll there, because I'm not exaggerating. There's no better bacon roll on the planet. So a cappuccino, a bacon roll looking out over the first tee, it can't be beat. And I told your chef when I was there last month, I pulled him over. I said, I got to tell you, I'm a connoisseur of bacon rolls. This is the best on the planet. He was very happy to hear that. So, and it's like flame broiled bacon. It's like you just couldn't make it any better.
That's right. It's got a lovely taste about it, certainly. And I think, to your point, the view looking down hole number one, it's south facing, so it's a beautiful view, and it makes you feel like you're engulfing heaven.
Exactly.
It's a good feel. And even if you're wanting a wee spiker, you could have a nice Bloody Mary as well. Your bar's open at 9 a.m. Yeah. And if you miss that, you go to the driving range, get loosened up, and you go on the first tee. You've probably experienced this, Jeff, when you were there. You get a little nip of whiskey on the first tee, and that's become very, very popular. I reckon 65% of folk will have a nip on the first tee, and it's a great photographic opportunity, having a wee dram before you tee off with your best buddies.
Yeah, I agree. And the staff in your pro shop are excellent. I'm a member at Murray up in Lossiemouth, and
wonderful.
You had I don't know if he's still there, but a year ago there was a gentleman working there who came from Murray. I don't remember his name, to be truthful, but
Yeah, our head pro Blair is from up the north, so he's that neck of the woods.
yeah. Well, very shortly after opening, you guys hosted the Women's Scottish Open, which is a huge honor. And the women had nothing but great things to say about it. And, Ryan O'Toole was a great winner that year.
That's
what
right.
A great event.
Well, co-sanctioned with the US Tour, so you got your Lydia Coles, and then you've got from this side Laura Davis. Very strong field. The weather was good on 3 days. On one of the days, though, the wind really got up, and we're talking 3 to 4 club wind. So I was in the driving range seeing these girls hit straight into the wind. It was coming straight west. And they were hitting normally the rescue clubs would fly 185. They're flying at 145, 140, and they're like, we've never played in any wind like this before. And they're trying all the Tiger Stingers now. They're trying to learn links golf very quickly, kind of to get their way around. The scoring was tremendous, but they all had a blast. And fortunately, Graham Taylor and his team had got the golf course, set up in great order. What your guests will find if they come, and I'm sure you found that the fairways are quite generous, and then the rough's not too penal. It's all about kind of angles of attack into the green, where is the left side of the fairway more advantageous than the right side. So a bit of risk and reward going on as well. So you are rewarded with maybe an aggressive tee shot down a particular line. What the ladies did comment on was 3 of our par 4s are drivable. With the right wind, they're drivable. So then, okay, if you're drivable, then there's a bit of risk element as well. Absolutely, there is. You're usually taking over some rough or some bunkers as well, going straight for the pin, or you can bail out with a softer line and giving you then just a pitch onto the green. So you stand down the tee and you've got to, do I feel lucky? Do I want to go for the green? And then you have then a few eagles coming up there, but then you've got a few bogeys as well. And so you kick yourself, think, God, why did I go for the green there? I've run it with a bogey. It was such an easy hole. So it's thought-provoking. Clive Clark, the designer, has done an incredible job, especially with these 3 holes. And then a couple other holes, we have the 5th and the 15th. They've got split fairways. So you stand on the tee and say, okay, do I go left or do I go right? This is really unusual. I've never had this before. Normally it's just, there's a fairway, take the driver out and smash it down there. Don't have to think about it, but you're kind of out with a course guide or you're listening to your caddy. Okay, then, Jeff, I'd suggest you go down left here because your ball flight suits that, this position a bit more, especially where the pin is. So there's lots of thinking to be done out there, but it's not overly penal. So people are having a lot of fun. People are coming off the course smiling. Wow, I can't wait to get out there again because I wish I'd played this hole differently. I should have gone that way rather than going this way. So thought-provoking, good fun entertainment. That's what Clive's delivered.
Well, 17 is a great example of that. With the ancient stone wall, you can go left and take the safe route. You can go right and deal with all kinds of garbage, so to speak, bunkers and I've seen. I'll tell you what. First of all, I've never seen anyone go left, try to take the shortcut or take the safe route. Everyone has gone. I've never seen anyone make birdie, and I've seen people make triple because they get hung up in the hay on the right or get in the face of a bunker or. And that's not an easy green either. It's a 2-tiered green. It's just a great golf hole.
It is. It's facing kind of northeasterly. So if you've got a southwesterly wind, which we typically do have, then it's playing pretty much straight down the draft. But if you get the wind switching, then actually going over the ancient wall, it's around about 300 years or so, and going for the green is an impossibility. But actually, even just to go over the wall, if you mishit your tee shot, then you're going to be caught up in the rough or bunkers or maybe getting quite near the wall. So the safe play, definitely when the weather's not so good, when the wind's into your face, is definitely on the left. So gives you that option as well. We also have a very a very big tee off the back, the championship tee that will be 70 yards further back from where you would normally be playing it as well. So then the left-hand route would be the recommended position and angle. But yeah, it certainly stands. You stand on that tee, and again, if you don't have much wind at all, then you're thinking, do I have enough, firepower to go over the bunkers there to go for the green? Fun stuff.
As a matter of fact, I was playing there back in October, and I saw you with some construction guys standing back on that tee.
Right.
There were like 5 of you clearly discussing, what that hole.
So what we've done actually over the winter time, that's one of the jobs we are doing. We're putting an intermediate tee in there. So it'll measure around 330 yards to the front edge of the green. It's slightly uphill, so downwind, your big guns could get pretty close, if not on from there. So from when you were there last to next time you come along, we'll have a new tee, which is around 40 yards in front of our championship tee just now. So it's just giving options when we have big players coming along and potentially championships in the future. We've got that option. It's the same at the third hole as well, another drivable par 4 round the corner. It's a beautiful hole just with the water in the backdrop. We've put an intermediate tee in there as well. Again, this time though, to carry the trouble about 50 yards short of the green, it's now a 300-yard carry from this intermediate tee. So it's fantasy for you and me to imagine hitting at that distance, but for your big players, they can do that. The big guns can fly at 300 these days. So put a wee bit of wind into it, and it gets them thinking. So yeah, we're always trying to just tweak and change the odd thing just to make it more interesting.
Well, you talked about risk and reward, and there are a number of holes, as you said, that are risk and reward. The par 4s that you said are drivable. They are drivable for big hitters, but 17 as an example, it's a very small target with a lot of, like 17, the green, it's surrounded on three sides by, waist high rough, and all fronted with half a dozen bunkers. I mean, it's a tough shot. You don't want to be short of the green there. Well, you don't want to be long of the green there either.
No, it's certainly a challenge. I would counter by saying, yes, certainly miss the green right, and there's some quite heavy rough there. And you've got bunkers left and right of the front side of the green. The place to hit it might be, there's not so much rough on the left-hand side of the green at all, really, but you end up in a low, kind of lower bowl area. And then to chip from there up onto an elevated green is very tough. All the fairways in our place, like all links courses, they're tight, hard fairways. And so to actually get a lob wedge on a tight fairway to an elevated green to get the quality, the right strike on it is a tough gig. So it could be the putter might be the best option. Just bash the putter up there and put it to 15, 20 feet and then 2-putt from there, and you're good. You've made your par. But you chip on there, and you could end up mishitting it slightly. And actually, to your point, you can run up some big numbers there. You've just tried to be a bit too smart.
Yeah. Well, I love that hole. I love from the tee. Looking at it, you're like, this is just we don't have anything like that in the States. And the other hole that I really like, I think 18 is a great finishing hole.
18, yeah, it's a dog leg left to right, depending on where the wind is as well. Usually it would be playing into like an 11 o'clock wind, southwesterly, so it would favor a kind of fade. And because it's left to right, if you've got enough firepower, you can take a bit of the corner off, and then your big hitters on the right day might be hitting in 9-iron pitching wedge to that green. But if you're if you don't quite middle your tee ball, you could be hitting 4-iron in there. It just depends what angle you've got. But certainly it's a nice finishing hole, especially when the pin's back left and a little bowl there. But it's a good test to golf to finish. There are not many birdies at the last hole. It's not a pushover, so you're quite happy if you see a 4 on your scorecard at the end, finishing off your round there. But it doesn't hammer you. It doesn't beat you up. You're not going to walk off without, losing 3 balls at the last hole. It's just a good, tough par 4, depending where the wind is.
Yeah. Well, I love the finish there. Those last 2 holes are great. But, what I told people after playing it the first time, it's the first time. Well, here's what I told them. When you're standing up on the first tee, you've got a view of the whole property. Once you go down on the first hole, my recollection was, I know it's changed a little bit after playing it an additional 2 times, was you feel like you're all by yourself in this bowl lined by dunes. You really can't see the other holes. And each tee box, when you make a turn around the dunes to the next tee box, my reaction was, wow, 18 times. Like, wow, look at this. And then you're down in the dunes again, and you feel like you've got the whole course to yourself. You really don't see, even when there are a lot of players out there, you don't see a lot of golfers out there.
No,
because they're hidden by the dunes.
That's right. Definitely hats off to our designer, Clive, for this one. He was fortunate, and he'll admit this, 345 acres he was allowed to play with. He could route his golf course, 345. Most golf courses might be 150 to 200 acres, 345. So there's not 2 consecutive holes running in the same direction. So with a typical links course, you mentioned London Links or Leven or a few great links round our area. They might have 4 or 5 holes going dead straight in the same lane. They're going straight east or straight south or whatever it might be, where we're going straight south, then we go west, then we go southwest, southeast, then we go straight west again. Then so it's zigzagging all around the compass. So if you get a stiff breeze, it plays with your head,
Yeah.
We're playing downwind there. Where's the wind coming from here? It's just an awful lot of fun, but it all comes from the acreage that Clive had to play with. Then from there, then you can start then creating, because it's pure sand underneath, it's wonderful links land.
Yeah.
Then they get the big bulldozers in and then start pushing the sand around. And because it's limitless, it's going all the way down the sand, the bulldozers come in, they can dig down 12 feet, still perfect sand, and then push them either side, to then start creating these dunes. So I think the best part of 600 dunes that were created. There are natural dunes on the property as well when you're playing down hole number 10. So what Clive, the natural dunes we have there, they were kind of superimposed. Okay, we're going to copy that and we're going to paste them all the way around so it feels natural. And that's the feedback we're getting from guests when they play. Wow, it looks like it's been here for hundreds of years.
Exactly.
That's music to our ears and to Clive's ears, definitely.
Well, I think, what's amazing to me is when you look at Kingsbarns, Cabot Highlands, which was Kessel Stewart, and Dumbarnie, all 3 of them look like they've been there 100 years, and your course has been there 3 years.
Yeah. Right? It's testament to the shapers that come in, that you've got the designer, they've got that vision, but actually the guys on the small diggers that come along and push all the soil to make it very natural, they're just artists. They just do a fantastic job. Fortunately, we had a couple of A+ diggers in with us and shapers, and delighted with the results.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Clive Clark, and we've had him on, as I mentioned, we've had him on the Travel Royally podcast 3 times now. And he's got an amazing resume from golf, obviously having won multiple times on the European Tour. He was a Walker Cupper, a Ryder Cupper. He's played in many Open Championships. And one of the things I think about what he's done is when you've got that type of a record of play, and having played all over the world and seen links courses and Heathland and Parkland and Sandbelt and all these different types of courses, you throw on top of it his ability to look at a course from a professional standpoint but he was also been a teaching pro. So he understands the amateur game. He was a strong amateur. And I think what he's built, and I hope to see it one day, is a match play event at Dumbarnie, because I think there's so much risk and reward coming down the stretch that if a match does go to 17 or 18 holes, it's going to be extremely interesting to see, do they go for the green on 17? How much do they, do they hit a big draw over the dunes on the right on 18? There's a lot of opportunity for big numbers out there.
Well, that's right. And even rewinding 2 holes to the 15th, a par 5, that measures over 600 yards, 606 maybe from the championships there. So you've got dog legs from left to right, but you've got a slither of fairway on the right-hand side that gives you the short route in, but it's a narrower fairway there, comes with a bit of risk there. Or you can play on the left-hand side, the wider fairway on the left, but makes the hole longer. So that's a safer play. If you're want to make a 5, you go down there all day. But if you want to go for the better player, maybe thinking about eagle, you need to chase, or you're 2 down, you think, okay, I'm going to hit one down the right-hand side, put a bit of pressure on the guy. And so, again, your decision-making, do I go to the right or do I go to the left? So in the women's Scottish Open, there was a few eagles there with some of the girls going down the right and, going for the green and, in 2 and making some eagles. So that's exciting hole. 16's a very strong par 3, usually playing into the wind, and then coming down 17 opposite direction, usually downwind. Do I go for it or not? It's thought provoking. I've used that a few times my conversation today, but really is gets you thinking.
Yeah, I hit on 16 during the scramble we played a month ago there.
Right.
I hit a big fade 6-iron that hit left and kicked right, and the green was middle back, and it landed about 10 feet behind, or stopped about 10 feet behind the flag. And I didn't get closest to the pin. I missed it by
2 inches.
Yeah, it was inches, but we did make the putt, so that was a good birdie there.
Well, that must have been rewarding to yourself, because that's a tough shot to put it, if it's back right there. That must have been a great feeling to see the ball get so close anyway.
Well, it's one of the things I love about links golf, the ability to use the contours of the ground to move your ball to where it needs to be. And I remember the first time I truly experienced that, I was playing at Muirfield, again, nearly 30 years ago. And I hit a beautiful shot into this green. And my dad at the time said, I think it's going to get hung up in the rough on the right. And we got up there, and it had kicked off onto the green and was this far away. And you're like, that's just, because, as a golfer, and I know you know this all too well, we get lots of bad breaks, and people tend to dwell on those. But in links golf, for me, it seems 50-50. I get bad breaks, I get good breaks. And when you get those good breaks, you're like, that, it's just magic, right? When your ball takes the contour the right way, that, as my approach on 16 at your club did, or that shot on a par 5 at Muirfield, it was just magic.
Well, there's nothing, because of the firm grounds, those of your listeners who haven't played links golf, the ground is so firm. In the summer's day, but it hasn't rained for a month. The ball could run close to 100 yards from a tee shot. You fly at 220 and the people say, I hit it 320 yards. It's possible they probably did hit it 320 yards, but it might have run 80 or 100 yards. Yeah. But when you get the wind into your face, playing on a subsoil and ground that's that firm, if you've got a 170-yard shot, it would normally be a 6-iron, say. You might have to hit a 4-iron, but you could maybe play a 4 or 3-iron and play a 3/4 shot and just play a bump and run shot. So you can intuit from the land, looking at it, if it's moving a little bit from left to right, the ground, then you can just play a running shot and kind of cheat the wind and feed it in along the ground. And because the ground's that fast, probably stimping it 8 or 9 in the stimp meter,
Right.
the ball runs forever. So it's magical to actually hear the crisp thud of the ball, the club on the ball, and see this thing coming out low and fast, and then running for 50, 60 yards with an iron onto the green and nestling up 10, 15 feet from the pin. It's fantastic, rather than smashing a 6 or 7 iron right up into the air. Wind takes it and you're going to get nowhere near the green. So that's part of the charm, and I think that's the draw. I'm sure you've been over 30 times. That's the magic of links golf, isn't it? Just playing the chip and run, the bump and run, and then the kind of stinger drill shot as well.
That brings up a great point, because some of our listeners and viewers will have seen you, because we posted in our newsletter the video that you did of how to hit that 5-iron stinger.
All right, cool.
You did a very good impersonation of Tiger Woods, right? But we posted that, and you've been kind enough to share the how to hit out of a pot bunker as well. We're going to post that in our December issue.
Oh, great!
And that goes out. But I think it's important for people to understand how to hit those shots, because you're going to have to hit those shots, or you're going to be very unhappy trying to play American golf in Scotland in a heavy wind. You can't, from 130 yards, if your normal club is a pitching wedge or a 9-iron, you can't hit a 120-foot shot, in that you got to keep it below the wind and punch an 8-iron in there or whatever.
Well, exactly. You're going to score a lot higher, and you're going to lose a lot of bucks to your friends unless you can adapt your game, change your game. So, my advice definitely for anybody coming across is, a month or so out, get to your own driving range at your club and just start hitting a few shots. So hitting a 7-iron 100 yards. Hitting it just a shoulders and arms to kind of 3/4 swing back and forth, take the backspin out of it, just get used to playing that lowest shot. Yeah. And when that, over in the States, it'll land and stop maybe within 10 yards. But over here, that same 7-iron might go 40 yards further because of the ground as well, using the contours. So yeah, definitely you want to, and that's what makes it so much exciting. I've played the game for 50 years, and I still get excited when it's windy out in the golf course. I think, right, okay, I'm going to get tested here. I'm going to try and, win today against this wind, rather than getting beaten up by it. So just play it low, play it along the ground. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think when the wind gets like that, you just have to take par or your score out altogether and just say, I'm just going to play my ball. I'm not concerned about other. I played in competitions in 40-mile-an-hour wind, where on par 4s, I would hit one of your stinger 5-irons off the tee, hit a stinger, another 5-iron, pitch on, take my 5 on a par 4 and say, I didn't lose a ball. I didn't go in the gorse. I didn't put up a big number. And then when I get downwind, I'm a little more comfortable, and I can shoot. I cannot shoot my way out of the tournament, by playing smart in those conditions.
That's right. No, it's damage limitation when you get really tough winds. And then downwind, again, it's amazing how far the ball will or end up, because you're landing, you get no backspin to speak of with a 9-iron downwind. So it's landing on a hard surface, and then it takes off. So you've got to make that adjustment. I'd highly recommend a caddy when you're over here, because they've seen it all, and they'll get you around in the lowest number possible, especially for the first couple of rounds anyway, and see how you go. But that would be my advice then.
Well, I think what's interesting, and I agree with that, within minutes, they're handing you the right club.
Yeah.
And just listen to them. If they say you want to hit 20 yards short of the green because the ground's so firm it's going to run up,
right?
Listen to them and hit the shot they tell you to hit, instead of trying to hit your gap wedge, 130 feet in the air and have it. It's not going to stop and drop like you think.
No, it's not spinning on the greens downwind.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now I want to go back to that real quick. You've got a series of videos. Where can people find those, when they want kind of on demand, not just off of our newsletter?
We had them just actually on our newsletter, and then we put them on our social media, in fact. So some, Dumbarnie Golf on, we've got Facebook, Instagram and X. So on there, they'll be there. But we actually haven't, other than these public mediums, we don't have it anywhere else. In fact, we don't have them on YouTube or anything like that. It's just more through our own networks, our own media.
Well, you guys should do that. You should have a YouTube channel where you've got flyovers and and videos.
Certainly the website's good, just for the flyover of the golf course.
Yeah,
We've
I
got
agree.
that there. And then, we are looking at revamping over the winter time, in fact. So thanks for that nudge, Jeff. I appreciate it.
Well, I wanted to make mention. I didn't hold on. I wanted to wish my saltire in your honor there this morning.
Greatly appreciated.
It's freezing out there. Well, I've got a couple more questions for you, if you don't mind, before we go.
Of course.
Now, we talked about there being such a golf-rich area. If you were an American or a North American coming over for the first time, what courses around the Fife area would you say, hey, you've got to play?
Yeah, well, if there's no budget, absolutely Kingsbarns, some great drama and great hospitality there, and top 100 in the world golf course. Old Course is very tricky to get on. Highly recommend, if you're trying to get on, there are two ways. One is going through a tour operator who possibly has golden tickets to get on the Old Course, or the second way is through the ballot, which is out 40 hours in advance. Still quite tricky to get on, to be honest, but there's a chance, certainly. So that's the two biggies in the area. You've also got Carnoustie Links, which actually is only 30 miles from St Andrews. Right. Obviously worth thinking about. More locally, Ely's a lovely little golf course. Yeah. Crail, you mentioned earlier. Crail's beautiful. It's kind of, let me see, is it 12th oldest in the world, I think. Then you have Leven Links, which has hosted the Open Championship qualifying before. So a good traditional Scottish links course. London Links, just a little bit nearer to St Andrews. Beautiful members club there. And then you've got the ones in St Andrews themselves. So you've got the Eden course, the Jubilee, the New course. New course was old Tom Morris's design. I think it was 1895. He built that course. So New's an underrated golf course. I'd say the locals in St Andrews, the New's a harder golf course than the Old Course, in fact, and arguably Jubilee is harder than the Old Course. But New, they're always in great order. The superintendent in St Andrews does an amazing job down there. So, and then if you go a little bit north of St Andrews, Scots Craig, you mentioned, has been mentioned. Scots Craig is a great golf course. Ladybank, super tree-lined golf course. And then up beside, I was just about to say up beside, Carnoustie is Panmure, where Ben Hogan practiced for his 1953 Open Championship win at Carnoustie. I think the sixth hole at Panmure is an immense hole. And I think
later this week we're going to have Montefieth on.
Oh, Montefieth, that's very nice too. So there's too many to mention. We're so blessed with great courses and some pretty good hospitality as well.
Well, let me ask this. I'm going to take if you take out the Old Course, Kingsbarns, and Dumbarnie, what would be your favorite golf course in Scotland?
Turnberry. The revamp of Turnberry is outstanding. It really is. Couple of the weaker holes round the turn have then become their strongest holes. So what was pretty good there is still there, but what wasn't so good is now outstanding. So I was super impressed there. Castle Stewart, I love too. You mentioned that earlier. Royal Dornoch, if you can get over and play Dornoch, it's sensational.
Yeah.
And then an inland course, it's very difficult to get on, certainly Loch Lomond.
Right.
That's quite magnificent. If you know a member to get on there, I'd highly recommend that, because the hospitality is off the charts there, but conditioning is really good because they have limited play because it's so exclusive. But
have you played Ardfin?
I've not, but I've heard only great things about it. I heard it's quite hard. So I'd have to take my A game over there. But I heard it's just, yeah, it's really, really good layout.
Yeah, I haven't played there either. We're going to have the head of golf from the Macri on,
Right.
David Foley. I'm looking forward
Yes.
to that.
Yeah. No, he's a lovely chap.
Okay, so you list Turnberry's your favorite course in Scotland. What's the one course in the world outside of Scotland that you'd love to play that you haven't played?
Pine Valley. I heard a great deal about it. I've been fortunate to play 2 or 3 other great courses, kind of top 10. Played Cyprus, played Augusta, not played Pine Valley. Love to play there. Yeah.
See, I guess it pays to be connected. I'm guessing Kingsbarns, or well, I don't want to make that presumption, but I'm guessing playing Augusta and Cyprus were just unbelievable.
It helped being at Kingsbarns, but with my connections, a lot of my buddies are members of the R&A. I'm not a member. I'm still waiting for the invitation, but that's okay. So no, that opens doors certainly. If you're an R&A member, and that opens a lot of doors. So I've gone with other buddies, but yes, yeah, without doubt. Played being a member of the PGA as well of Great Britain.
Oh, that's true.
That helps quite a bit as well.
Yeah, so I mean, you've just you've blown everyone else's bucket list out of the water because you've played the courses that they want to play other than Pine Valley.
Well, I feel very blessed, that's for sure. Very, very lucky.
A couple more questions for you, David. If you could put together a dream foursome, you and 3 other people, living or dead, who would you want to play with and where would you play?
Well, I would play the old course, St Andrews. If it's one golf course I want to play before I pass on and play upstairs, old course definitely. Gee whiz, you put me on the spot there. But I mean, my best buddy Athol Reid, he's an Arnie member, St Andrian. I see him most months, so we catch up there. I don't know. My son, he's 30 years old and loves the game as well. So I play with him, and probably another buddy. You know, I don't have this affiliation or desperate need to play with great golfers. You know, I know, just
Tiger Woods, you don't care to play.
Maybe my 4th player would be old Tom Morris. How about that? That would be it. So on the old course, playing with my son and my best buddy and playing with old Tom and asking about how he created what he's done. Obviously, he didn't create the old course, but he made a few changes and nuances to it from 600 years ago when it first came about, golf on the old links there. But
well, he shaped it as we know it, right? I mean, removing all the gorse and...
Exactly. And since then, there have been many changes. Actually, a few bunker changes, but certainly a lot of tee changes have massively changed over all the years. But yeah, that would be interesting. And the new course hasn't changed a great deal, and that was built, late 19th century.
Right.
And
so you would play the old course in reverse with old Tom, I'm guessing.
I guess I would have to. That's right. Or no, I'd like to play it regular and then see what he thought about it.
Yeah.
See if he likes the new routing.
Yeah, and do not take him into the clubhouse for a drink afterwards. You know, you don't want to be the cause of his untimely passing, falling down the stairs, right?
Well, that happened in the new golf club, St Andrews. So that's for golfers who don't know where that's situated. If you were to slice an ugly tee shot off the last hole, for an average golfer, that is where the new club is. It was before Granny Clark's Wind, which is the Tar Macadam Road that runs right across there that everybody flies when you see it on TV. Well, yeah, it's about 20 yards short of that road on the right-hand side. Poor old Tom fell down the stairs going down to the locker room, and that was him.
Yeah, that's a very sad story, not only because of how he passed, but the fact that he outlived his wife and all of his children.
That's right, young Tom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very sad.
But okay, one final question.
Yeah.
Well, I have two questions because I forgot to ask this one. When North Americans come over to Dumbarnie, what can they expect in terms of the welcome and the golf experience while they're there?
So on arrival, typical kind of American feel in that, though, is a meet and greet. There's somebody there to welcome you at the door. That's very important. Understand when your tee time is, give you an orientation. So it's really important that you know where you are, what you're doing and where you're going, rather than just kind of, I'm a foreigner, I don't know quite where I'm going, and nobody's really friendly. Where are the restrooms, and where's the range, and when have I got to get down to the first tee, etc. Where's the pro shop? So a very quick orientation anyway to make you feel at home anyway. We don't have any members, so you are our member for the day. We want to make you feel very special. You walk into the bar, or you walk into the clubhouse, and you've got plate glass windows looking straight down hole number one. You walk to the right into the old barn restaurant, and again you've got all the glass right down the south facade there, and a big bar that's kind of 9 yards long with all the whiskies you could imagine. You'll never manage from left to right in the top shelf, but you can give your best shot. And then you'll get a warm welcome and a smile by genuine staff who are very keen to give you a great time. And then check in the pro shop and make sure we've got all the caddies figured out for you, and if you've been here before, and then just make you feel at ease, give you the guidance, get out on the golf course, have a blast.
Yeah.
Make pars, have a blast, come back in, and then there'll be some great, golfers fare, great fish and chips, burger, chicken, Cajun chicken burger is to die for. We've got popcorn chicken, and of course we've got some haggis, and also Cullen skink, which is a Scottish fish. It's a kind of chowder, a kind of fish chowder that's really popular with your fellow countrymen. So yeah, I think we tick what we're hearing.
And don't forget the bacon roll.
And the bacon roll, or you've actually got a breakfast wrap as well. So you get a wrap, and it's got all the ingredients of a full breakfast inside this wrap. So you take one bite and you've got some nice egg. Next bit, you've got black pudding. Next bit, you've got some sausage, then bacon. So it sends your taste buds into the stratosphere. So I recommend, Jeff, next time you should try the breakfast wrap.
I'll make sure that I do that. One last question.
Right.
As I mentioned, most of our people that come over are coming over for the first time.
Yes.
So they haven't played links golf. You've talked about some of the shots, but in general, what do you recommend? What advice do you have for first-time visitors playing links golf in Scotland?
If you've got a choice of tee boxes, try and play forward rather than back. Don't beat yourself up, especially the first couple of rounds. And just play within yourself. Don't try and keep the ball on the ground if you can. If you can avoid using your lob wedge and sand wedge from off the green, I would, because the ground's so firm. So normally when you would take a divot back home, it tends to bounce a lot easier because the ground's so firm here. So definitely take putter if you can. As mad as it is, take a putter from 20, 30 yards off the green. You're always going to put it on the green, probably within 15 feet or so. So you're generally going to get down in 3 from taking a putter 20, 30 yards off the green. You get the lob wedge and you can run up big numbers. You can thin it or duff it very, very easily. Yeah. So until you get used to the soil and the firmness of the ground, I just play the Scottish way. I mean, I regularly, not because I'm a bad chipper or pitcher, but I regularly take a putter off there because I know it's a wise thing to do. It's just a clever shot to play.
I hit a bump and run 7 off of a shot like that.
Great.
Just play it back in my stance, and
that's right. And so you're not looking to get right at the very bottom of the ball. You're just hitting it a little bit under the equator of the ball with a 7-iron. When you think of the loft of it, that's perfect. But when you're actually trying to get right at the very bottom of the ball, pretty much with a 60-degree, it's so hard to just get it right. So yeah, that's a chip and run with a 5, 6, 7 iron. That's a great shot to have in the bag, and it'll save you a lot of shots rather than trying to play the smart shot that you typically is the go-to shot back home, because the ball's stopping quickly definitely is a lob wedge or sand wedge back home.
It's hard to practice those bump and runs here, but I do recommend it once they get there. Once you get to the practice range at Dumbarnie, make sure that you practice some bump and runs and putting from long ways off the green. You'll play much better. Well, David, it's been wonderful having you. I appreciate your investing this hour of time with us today. We really appreciate it. Very insightful, and thank you so much.
Jeff, it's a real pleasure. I look forward to personally welcoming you when you come back, and hopefully I'll be welcoming many of the Travel Royally guests as well in 2024 and beyond.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Jeff.
David, thank you so much for coming on the Travel Royally podcast. Please, guys, if you liked it, like, share, subscribe so you know when the next video comes out. And I hope to see you next time.